Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Todd McFarlane figure, Ozzy Osbourne. Now, I picked this up a little while ago at a con, that's why the box is a little bit beat up. We're pretty cheap, so due to the passing of the madman himself, I figured this would be a good time to actually do this review. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here he is in packaging. I do like the packaging for him. So up top, you have Ozzy Osbourne. You have the shell here where you can see him, all his accessories. Like I said, I know it's a little beat up, but I got it from a con knowing that I was going to take them out of the packaging, so I didn't really care that much. So down here you have complete custom diorama, headless bat, and so forth. All right, you come around to this side here. You get a cool picture of the figure, Ozzy Osbourne, some of McFarlane's other lines, and a little bit of legal underneath. So, with all that being said, let's open him up and see what he's about. So, here he is out of packaging. Now, we're going to look this figure over very thoroughly because there's a lot of really cool stuff about this figure. But first off, we're going to talk about his points of articulation. So, he does have a few points. I believe the reason they gave him these points of articulation are not so much because they're meant to move, but just to put it in the class of action figure instead of statue. So he has a joint here. We're not going to really move much of the joints just because of the fact that I feel like they weren't meant to be moved. So there's a joint here. There is a wrist joint. That does move. You have another shoulder joint under his cape. And this wrist also has a joint. And he has two here right at the thighs. So like I said, they don't move very well, so I'm not going to mess with them too much because I feel like they weren't meant to be moved. So with that being said, we're now going to look into his details. So first off, I want to look at this face sculpt. I like this face sculpt. I really do feel like it captures the overall look of Ozzy, how he would be at his shows, the madman that he was, and what have you. And I just really feel like he captured his facial expression very well with this figure. I love the overall detail to his face, all the way up to his eyes, how his eyes look as they're staring into you, not at you. And he has a little bit of blood trickling down his chin. We'll get into that when we get into his accessories. Todd McFarlane, why we got a close-up of the head here, also put his own signature on this figure. So if you noticed, on either side of his face here, on this side and this side, I might have to tilt them forward a little bit so you could see it. You can see that he has the Spawn skulls. So his cape is designed like Spawn's, which is pretty neat. I do like that. Now, he's a little back heavy, so when I do the rotation, he may fall back. I'm not sure. I try to lean him forward as much as possible to prevent him from falling over, but we'll see how that goes. Now, once again, the detail on this figure is amazing. And this is a testament, once again, to old McFarlane opposed to new McFarlane because of the amount of work that he had put into this figure. So, like, first off, get these chains out of the way. You got his iconic chest tattoo with his name on it and the flaming dragon. I like that a lot. He does get to all of the tattoos, and we'll get into all those in a minute. I like the factor that his crosses are hung by real chains. So he took the time and effort to actually put real chains onto this figure. The same with his bracelets on both arms. So if I give you a little rotation so you can see this arm and this arm, you can see that they actually used real metal bracelets for him that look really nice. The color detail to the belts across his body. He decided to make them a gloss opposed to a flat, so they really stand out against the pants. The same with as you get into his legs and his boot. Now, you do have a little discrepancy right here above this belt. Not a major thing, but it is there. All right. Come around to this side. You can see all the gloss in his booting. You can see the stitching in his pants and what have you. Once again, you can see some more discrepancies right along the belt line here and stuff. That could have been done a little bit better, but all things considering, you know, let's bring him around this way. Yeah, he's wanting to go backwards on us. Let's lean him forward a little. There he goes. Even as an action figure, he doesn't want to comply to the rules. So I'll lean him forward a little bit more. Yeah, see how he wants to come backwards. But now if you look up onto his arm, you see mom and dad tattoo, which is very nicely done. Let's lift these chains up a little bit. You can see it a little bit better. So there you can really see the detail in that tattoo, which is really nice. And you move the cape out of the way, you can also see that one as well, the Sharon tattoo with the rose. So once again, a lot of thought was put into this figure. I like the vinyl that they used for his cape. That's really nice. It has a really nice detail and it works with this figure. Now, most cases, you will always hear me say, I prefer cloth. This is one of those cases where I don't, because once again, this figure is not so much meant to be an action figure, but more of a statue in action figure form. All right. Get him to lean forward a little bit more again. Yeah, he just wants to go backwards on me. They have some traces of blood in the hair. Come around to this side. Let's get this cape out of the way a little bit. Let's get this arm up a little. So now, if you look here, you can see the other tattoo on his arm, which is really nice. They did some really good work with that as well. And then you bring it around to his hand here. If you really look at his hand, let's get this up. You can actually see the Ozzy tattoo along his fingers, along with the different types of rings that he would wear and what have you. And it also looks like the head does move. I didn't even notice that before. So you do get some movement in the head. So, I get those out of the way. We'll just have him stand on his own. Like I said, he wants to lean backwards. There we go. So overall, as an action figure, he's a very impressive looking action figure. I mean, I could probably go on all day about all the minute details that they put into this figure. So a lot of work was put into the overall look to this figure. So now we're going to start getting into all his different accessories. And he comes with a lot of stuff. So first off, he comes with a background cathedral piece. So this is the base for it. It comes with 3 windows. All right. So you got this side here, which just clips on. All right. This is the centerpiece. All right. So get that on there as well. Actually, I think the center is supposed to go on first, then the 2 side pieces. It's been years since I put one of these together. I had one of these before. Wound up giving it to a friend when I got this one. And this one as well. There it goes. Now, if you're somebody who wants to have this put together forever, you could probably glue these on. You know, like if you're never planning on taking this thing apart again, that might be something you may want to do. There it goes. But for the most part, it all clicks together nicely. And now you got the Ozzy Osbourne, which hooks into these 2 holes here. Boom, just like that. Now you have the setup for behind him. Let's get that out of there. Let's put him where he belongs. I said, his feet are meant to stand kind of offset on these steps. Just got to maneuver the legs into position. There you go. So now you got him in front of this shrine. And he comes with a lot of other goodies. So you got a bunch of dead doves. They could just scatter around him. They aren't meant to go into his hands or nothing. All right. Now, just headless doves. I think at one point he might have bit a head off of a dove. I think that's why they have the doves. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100% sure. All right. He comes with, of course, a bunch of headless bats. You know, he's most noted for biting off the head of the bat. So we definitely got a bunch of bats floating around without heads. All right. And like I said, these are just things that you could just kind of just scatter around his feet. Or you can actually put one of the bats in his hand. Like this. So if you want him to have him hold the body of one of the bats, he can. Here's another one of the bats. All right. Another dove. All right. Next, he has his iconic cross. All right. This is kind of cool looking. This just fits nicely in his hand up here. Like that. All right. There you go. Now he has the cross. He also comes with a set of sunglasses too. You know what? So there are the sunglasses. And he has hole on the one side of his face here where the sunglasses plug in. All right. It'll be hard to try to do this on camera. Where's that hole at? There it is. Hold on. So I had to play around with the glasses off camera for a couple minutes just to get them in there. So I did get the glasses on. They fit pretty nicely on him. No issues. And now, for the last piece of his gear, the hardest part to find, like if you get him loose, you're more than likely not going to find this part loose, is the bat head. And this, oops, well, there it goes. This piece here is the easiest piece to lose. It's so small that I literally have to hold it with tweezers just to show it to you. Now, this is meant to fit in his mouth. So, oops, there you go. Almost lost it right there and then. This is the part 9 out of 10 people who have this figure loses. And it's supposed to just fit right inside his mouth. It probably ain't going to cooperate with me today because of big fat fingers. And there it goes. Alright, this thing ain't cooperating with me today. Apparently nothing's cooperating today. There you go. So now it's actually in his mouth. Kind of like displaying them without that in there. But as you can see, it is meant to fit in there just like that. Still wants to lean forward on me for some reason. There we go. So now you got everything on him. You got the bat head in his mouth. You got the glasses. You got the bat body in hand. And the cross. So this is everything he comes with overall. A lot of accessories. And it's all mostly made for dramatic effect. All right, so let me get into my final thoughts on this figure. So first off, his joints aren't meant to be moved that much, if at all. They're not designed to be moved. And I think the only reason he really has joints is to put him in the classification of action figure opposed to statue. Now, with that being said, the legs, the joints sometimes do help, like when you're trying to maneuver them and get like the weight shift to even out when you want them to stand. So slight shifts there does help. This wrist here is worthwhile because you can turn the hand either up so you can hold a bat or in a down position, however you want to. This one kind of stays as it is. The same with the shoulder joints. They're really not meant to move, and also the neck joint. So they're not meant to move. I wouldn't require them to move myself. As for the attention to detail to this figure is just amazing. It's a testament to old school McFarlane figures when they used to put extreme care into detail on figures and what have you. Like I showed earlier, all the attention to detail with all his tattoos and everything, the face sculpt, the pose that they have him in is just outstanding. And I feel like this is probably one of the better, if not the best, Ozzy action figure out there. Opposed to like really expensive statues and what have you. I'm talking about, mainly in the action figure class. I think this is probably one of the best looking Ozzy figures out there. As for his accessories, all the accessories that are meant to go in his hands and what have you work very well. The glasses, it took me a little bit of work to get them in there, but after playing around with them, as you see, they do fit. The same with the bat head in his mouth. If you want to display that with them, yeah, it takes a little bit of working, but it does eventually fit in there. And the bats and doves are just meant to be scattered around to give effect to it. I love the chapel scene behind them. I think this really does scream Ozzy with the big stained glass and everything, because he was very dramatic. Like you could tell that with a lot of his videos. So this really, really fits, to me personally, the overall look of what Ozzy is. So I overall love this. Probably the biggest flaw I think that this figure does have is the bat head. And the only reason why I feel like that's a flaw is because it's so small and so easily lost. I slightly mentioned earlier that this is my second Ozzy figure. I bought one back when it was new, kind of lost a few of the pieces to it. And then I went to a con, saw this one for cheap. I figured, hey man, I grabbed this one. That way I have everything that I misplaced. And then I gave the other one away to Billy. So now he has an Ozzy, I have an Ozzy, and it worked out for everybody. But overall, would I recommend this? Obviously a hell yes. I would highly recommend this figure to anybody who's an Ozzy fan. This guy is just a great looking figure overall. I love this figure. And if you could find them loose, great. Like I said earlier, usually the pieces that are usually missing is either the glasses or the bat head. 9 out of 10 times the bat head would be missing. But even if you get this figure without the bat head, he's still a great figure overall and will look great displayed anywhere where you display your heavy metal action figures and what have you. So with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my music playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.